Well, the rumors are true. We now have our fifth named storm of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. Tropical storm Elsa forms overnight last night, and you can see right in front of your face it's going to be a long 5 days before we see this thing in the Gulf. Between the cone of uncertainty, all these spaghetti plots form, and the possibility of things getting a little more crazy than we think. We are certainly going to break down this storm and all the details we have available. And what is going on in Florida? We have another unconfirmed reported earthquake felt by nearly 100 people. Here we go. Good morning, my friends. And just like that, June has come and gone. It is July 1st, 2021, 10:53 a.m. And as you can see, Elsa is the lone storm in the Atlantic Ocean today, our fifth named storm of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. You can see right now we are at 45-mile-an-hour sustained winds, 1,006 millibars in pressure, and a super long track for us to follow, which I'm going to do for you right here in this video in just a second. But first, no, you are not going through deja vu. This is another reported earthquake in Florida, 3.8. But let me be clear, this is an unconfirmed quake. We did not see this on the USGS. But wait till you see the reports that people submitted for this event. And I am not kidding you, my friends. Between yesterday and today, I've received multiple emails as this took place yesterday, but finally was confirmed, at least on this website, volcanodiscovery.com. And we have nearly 100 people reporting feeling this in all different ways. Some as far north as Orlando, and some as far south as Port St. Lucie. And just to show you that I am not making this up, we have nearly 100 user reports for this situation. You can see here all the different towns in Florida from which these people felt it. And this first one right here, look at this. It was stronger than the chemical plant explosion in September of 2020. This one out of Palm Bay, I heard and felt the vibrations through the entire house. It shook so hard that the concussion from it caused our doggy door to have a heavy plastic panel to swing back and forth all on its own. Continuing on, this is in Palm Bay. Sitting on my kitchen, I thought my sliding glass doors were going to break. You could clearly see the doors moving, but not much wind, so it was unclear what was happening. Another one out of Palm Bay, Florida. It shook the roof under my carport. And we have Melbourne, Florida here. I felt rumbling and I looked out the door and saw the door shaking, so I thought someone was locked outside. I got up to look and no one was there, so I figured it was an earthquake or a small tornado. I will leave a link in the description box so you can come and read all these reports. People are still making reports as the posting of this video. So let's get in here and take a look at this. So if I hover over it right now, we have a reported quake near Palm Bay, Florida, USA. We'll go ahead and click on that. Earthquake data. This is what we have so far. 18 hours ago is when the initial report came in. That's when I started getting emails from people because we've been covering this Florida situation and the possible seismic activity or sinkholes going on, the sonic booms. Some people thought this was another rocket launch. So when you get this many people in this broad of an area, chances are something went down. And at least on this website here, between a 3.0 and a 3.8 in relativity to what they would think a quake of that size would produce, 10 kilometers in depth, that's usually a default depth when it's something shallow, but they don't really know how shallow. Again, this is an unconfirmed quake, but just the amount of people that felt it and the amount of people that reached out to me, it's certainly getting covered. As always, I took the coordinates and we're going to zoom right in to see where this was, and you're going to kind of see it's in a little bit of a marshy type area. Here we are right here, and I'll zoom back up here to give us an idea of how close we are to the Atlantic Ocean, and you can see just to the east is Palm Bay here, and then as we zoom out as a whole, you can see it's basically in central Florida, just on that eastern coast. So just a little more data and information being added to the fact that Florida has been shaking and moving and who knows what, a lot more than we've all thought. If anyone that watches these videos heard about this or even felt it, I actually have family that live down in this area and I'm waiting to hear from them about anything they possibly felt. Please reach out to me and let me know so we can get some more confirmation on what's going on here. This is certainly a topic I'm going to cover as long as we continue to see this type of movement, and with that, the human connection, actual people reporting this in many different locations of the state. Alrighty, my friends, and now it's time to get back to Tropical Storm Elsa, which has a long path to go, about 4 to 5 days before we can see this thing in the Gulf. Gulf. And the reason I'm moving the ticker by hand is because we have a lot of glitches going on in the College of DuPage website today. But I wanted to share this screen with you because I want you to look at something really quick before we get into the details of Elsa. And I'll bring us to the last frame here for the most current info. So those remnants of Invest 95L are about right here. Remember, we had that 20% chance just ahead of what is now Elsa. So this isn't even on the chart anymore to become anything tropical. It's a bunch of different storms. So we have Elsa right about here approaching the Lesser Antilles and Leeward Islands, which have current tropical storm warnings as we speak right now. And before we move to another chart, I just want you to notice the next wave behind 97 and then another wave behind that. The monsoon season in Africa right now is very much on an uptick, which is causing a lot of these early seasonal storms that are popping off the west coast. And right off the bat, let's be clear, 5 days is a long time. It's a long time for change. So I know a lot of people are seeing this forecast model here from the GFS and saying, oh my God, we're going to have a landfall in Florida. Of course, this is possible. It's showing by July 8th, we could see a landfall on the Gulf side of Florida after clipping Cuba and before that hitting Jamaica. So we have a lot of situations that can take place before this thing even gets to the Gulf of Mexico that can either weaken it if the storm even continues on this track. That's why it's very important to not really jump the gun too much every time we see the forecast of a storm moving towards the Gulf. Not only that, but we've seen major changes in a short period of time. So yes, of course, we have all these spaghetti plots that kind of show a similar pattern, a western track based on the Bermuda bubble that's keeping it pressed down towards the Leeward and Lesser Antilles Islands. And then we notice as it gets underneath Puerto Rico and then Dominican Republic, we see a slight movement to the northwest. We have that because this western edge of the Bermuda bubble is finally releasing and allowing this storm to move north. And that's generally why we see storms track up in the northern direction when they get to this point, because now we're dealing with the force fields of the jet stream as opposed to the Bermuda bubble and whatever else is coming from west to east into the Gulf to affect the storm. So as we backtrack again, a lot of different factors between now and 5 days from now can take place all along this area, allowing the storm to move up or force it back down more. We could see this thing go underneath Jamaica, which would keep it in water longer and make it possibly stronger, and then heading towards the gap near Cancun and Cuba. This thing could track up north a little sooner and come up in between Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, possibly weakening quicker after crossing the Bahamas and getting into cooler water. We just don't know yet. We also have the warm water of the Gulf Stream that leaks out of the Gulf around Florida and then up the East Coast. We've seen storms get right on that track and then just take off towards the northeast. So yes, things can get very exciting. We can get ahead of ourselves and start freaking out when we start seeing these storms heading towards the United States, but we need to stay calm. We need to follow these things with a clear mind and understand that even one day can change a storm dramatically. And one of the main charts that get people really worked up is this one right here, the model intensity guidance, and it's based over a period of time. You could see from 0 hour into the future to 168 hours. This is what a lot of the models predict will happen. We can see the bulk of them keep this thing in a tropical storm range for about the next 4 days. That's basically the entire trip it's taking towards the Gulf. But we do have some of those models that are bringing this thing up to a legit hurricane, even past a legit hurricane, closer to a category 3. That's only one model, so we're not going to really put a lot of emphasis on this thing here, but it's still important to show all the different possibilities. As far as the timescale goes, again, this will change as well, but as of right now, this was posted at 11 a.m. today. They are projecting this to stay as a tropical storm. That's what the letter S means. If that changes, you'll see these letters turn to an H. But the cone of uncertainty does keep it south of Puerto Rico and basically south of Dominican Republic, possibly crossing up north. By the time it reaches Haiti, we just don't know. That's where all those pressure situations I was talking about come into play. I would say that even outside the fact that we're on our 5th storm of the season, it's still just July 1st. I want to take a look at the number of storms per 100 years. This is our average chart we have here, so we can see the bulk of our seasons are still that second week of September is really peak season. We've had random peaks outside of this chart plenty of times. We've all seen it, and technically we're right about in this area. In between the June 20 and July 10th, this kind of plateau area here. So we're a good month away from when we usually climb that peak, but the signs and the atmospheric conditions we've been having lately almost feels like we've jumped into the future. It feels like we're in mid-August leading into September with all the waves I see coming off the west coast of Africa. Usually our storms are forming in the Caribbean right now, and then later on in the season, those waves start flowing from the Cape Verde Islands here off the west coast of Africa, and then those waves flow towards the Leeward and Lesser Antilles, but we're already here. So long story short, my friends, it's time to buckle up. It's going to be a long season. It may be one of those back-to-back-to-back wave after wave after wave seasons. We just don't know yet. It looks like that's what's lining up. But until then, that's the end of this video. Sorry about it being so long. We had a lot to cover and a lot of important information to get out there. Shout out to Canada. Happy Canada Day to everyone out there that's Canadian, that isn't Canadian. Who cares? It's still a holiday. And we got 4th of July weekend coming up for the US. All right, my friends, I'll be back later on today or tomorrow morning with another video. Any questions or concerns, leave down below. Thank you all so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.